Hang on. Ah, there it is. Ah. Screw this, you're not getting a birthday song.
Greetings, Zolfury here.
Zembo, me.
You, okay. He has a name, but whatever, no one cares.
I was lost in the thoughts.
Okay.
I was too busy thinking about how awesome dungeons are gonna be.
Oh yes, I like a nice segue.
I wasn't thinking about that.
I know. Anyways, so if you couldn't have guessed or didn't see the title, we will be talking today about dungeons and their supreme awesomeness.
Dragons.
Well,
Dungeons and Elder Dragons. Oh, see what
snap!
I did there?
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I see what you did there, you sneaky bastard, you. Okay, so today, dungeons. What are dungeons?
It's where you put prisoners. Like prisons underneath the castle. No, not according to the developers.
Indeed.
So apparently there's mansions.
Apparently.
There's a lot of different types of dungeons. But basically, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Dungeons are
places you go and you fight bad guys and you get loot and you level up.
Normally as
and
a
it's
team.
Fun.
Normally in a separate area.
Normally.
And it's pretty contained.
Yeah, they're typically instanced
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know.
And slightly more challenging.
Typically, yes.
Yeah.
And dungeons within Guild Wars 2, they show up in two different formats. And those two different formats are two different variations of the same dungeon. So you can go into the any of the dungeons, and there are currently 8 of them.
I just want to say that's pretty significant to say at this point in development that we have 8 dungeons.
Well, see, the thing is,
that's
and
pretty
one of
cool.
them,
I mean, it shows there's a lot of forethought and a lot of
but the coolest part is that the dungeons are, like I said, in two different formats. There's story mode and explorable mode. Story mode is just taking you through the story behind the dungeon. And explorable mode is, there are many different ways. They said up to 3 different ways, 3 different paths you can take throughout the dungeon.
Right.
So that pretty much bumps it up to 4 dungeons per dungeon, if you will. So that kind of multiplies the amount of dungeons in a way.
And something I thought was really cool about the story mode is that the mode in between all the dungeons, it kind of follows a story arc.
Yeah.
Like all the dungeon story modes are all connected.
Yes.
And they follow, like, I don't know anything about the lore, but it's like they're apparently a group of adventurers that were popular, one of each race, I think.
Yeah, it was
Divinity's Edge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So apparently this.
I'm the Lord Geek and you knew that.
Yeah. So
it was they're pretty prominent characters, particularly in the books, but you should know about them. You've got like Logan Thackeray, who is Gwen from Eye of the North. That's her like great grandson. Because she married somebody Thackeray in Eye of the North. Yeah. And Logan Thackeray is the human guy. He's a guardian. You've got Ritlock Brimstone. Yeah. Ritlock Brimstone. He's a Char warrior. And then you've got like Kaith, who's a Sylvari thief, I think. And then you have Air, who is a Norn elementalist or something.
You have the A-team of Guild Wars.
Yeah, pretty much. The A-team.
So, like,
except that there's no Mr. T, which is kind of depressing.
Oh, wow.
Actually, no, Ritlock. He's kind of Mr. T.
Is he?
Except that he's significantly more badass.
Yeah. Anyway, there's this group of adventurers, and apparently, they broke up or something happened.
Yeah.
And you get to, like, relive, like, it's not a flashback. It's just you get to meet up with all these individual characters.
Yes.
And now some of them are fighting against each other, so you've got to, like, get all that worked out. So you kind of go through this story of, like, it's like this team that used to be a team, but then they broke up.
Yeah.
And now you kind of got to get them back together because there's obviously a bigger problem, around.
Yeah.
So you just kind of get to live that story and probably learn a lot about the lore and the races and like.
Yeah. The whole thing's pretty cool.
And the individual characters. It seems like there's going to be a lot of character development with these.
Yeah.
These characters that have been introduced.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that. Like, I think that really, it really plays well to what Guild Wars 2 is trying to do to make this really story-driven experience.
Absolutely. And a couple other things to note. For one, they're not for beginners. this isn't WoW. You won't be able to jump into or feel like you should jump into dead mines at like level 14 where you barely even started playing the game and you have no idea what the hell you're doing.
Right.
The first dungeon will become available at level 35. And I think that's great. That gives you plenty of time to get your hands, your grasp on the way the game works, the way your profession works, and really just get used to the way the game works and the way combat is so you can actually perform optimally in a group. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's... Also, I think that, you know, it seems like the dungeons aren't quite as, I guess, prominent in Guild Wars 2 as they were in a game like, say, like WoW. Because WoW, you have dungeons littered throughout the leveling experience.
Yeah, and you
tons, and you'd have to do those.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be expected to be optimal.
Yeah, pretty much. What I did, I leveled so many tunes in WoW, and
you no-lifed it for a while.
What?
You no-lifed it for a while.
Yeah, pretty much. Mr. No Life, that's me. Anyways, and what I would do is I called it quest cycling, where you pick up all the quests, you go do all of them, and you go and turn them all in. You level up the fastest that way, for those of you who still play WoW. I know, right? But the most optimal way to level is to do that while always in the dungeon finder queue. So that as soon as you hop in, as soon as it pops, you can hop in a dungeon, get a nice boost of experience, and then you can hop out and continue back with questing. So that's, you know, dungeons played a key role in leveling in WoW and in other games. And in this, they're purely optional.
Right.
You do not have to go in them. If you purely want to focus on your character's personal story, you can do that. You don't have to go into these dungeons. You can just level straight just by doing dynamic events and other such things.
I think you'll find a lot of people that are interested in doing these will be like leveling with friends or you know, playing with friends.
Yes.
And they just want to do something to take a break from their storyline. Or they want to do something a little different.
Yeah.
They can just hop right in there and do that.
Yeah, and the other thing is that they noted was that each dungeon has its own specific set of gear and weapons, which I mean isn't too out of the norm. But it's really cool because they look different. You know, you can go to one dungeon and you can get a couple pieces of gear that look really freaking cool.
Right.
And you know, you can only get it in that dungeon, and I think that's cool. And then the other thing is, everybody gets loot.
Yep.
Everybody gets loot.
No rolling on gear, no fighting on gear, none of that.
Everybody gets loot.
And also about the loot, there's individual exclusive gear, weapons, and armor for each dungeon, and they all look differently. What? That's what you just said?
Where were you at in the past 2 minutes?
I was trying to see who was calling me on my phone. It was ringing this entire time, and I was trying not to notice it. My bad.
He's not high, honestly. He's just absent-minded today.
So yeah, everybody gets loot.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so where were you?
I'm sorry. Okay, so moving on. Okay, we already talked about the different modes of the dungeons, story and explorable, and those are pretty cool. And blah 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 blah. Not for beginners. Sorry, I got my little checklist over here. Another thing that's a big topic that a lot of people are curious about. How will a dungeon work without a tank and healer?
We talked about this a little bit, like in our... We talked about the Holy Trinity and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna work differently. Like, that's all I can really think about at this point.
We don't know for sure, but we would assume from all that we've seen that combat in dungeons would work just like combat in the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And combat in the rest of the game works flawlessly without tanks and healers.
Yeah.
So I would imagine the same kind of thing, and it would be much more of a skill-based system, because not skills as in your abilities, but skill as in player skill. Because when a boss is swinging at you with his sword, you can roll out of the way and avoid the attack.
There's gonna be a lot of reaction.
Yes.
A lot of action.
It's based on positioning, where you're standing, how you're fighting the guy. And
I think the fights will end up being pretty dynamic too.
Yeah.
Like if you have that much room to like, you know, move around and like attack, and that much freedom.
Yeah, I think
that'll add a lot of dynamic.
I was watching this one gameplay video a while back, and this one ranger, I think, was he was fighting this big tree thing. I forget what they're called, oaken something or another. and he was fighting one, and he was like kiting it around and running around, and he was dodging attacks, and one time he slipped up and didn't dodge the attack, and he was one shot right on the spot.
That's awesome.
I think that is just brilliant.
Like some people might think that's a little harsh, but here you have to understand.
That's awesome.
When you play a game like this, you're expected to not be perfect, but you're expected to perform and, you know, have skill, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
be competent.
Right. And you know
what?
what?
You can't just lulls your way through.
If you're not that great a player, fine. That's why these dungeons are optional.
Yes.
So you don't feel like you have to do these.
Right. Right.
But the combat is hard. Okay, we've said this before. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
But that's what's gonna make it so fun.
That's what's gonna make the game awesome.
You can run in. We use WoW all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to pick on.
Because WoW is it's like that, like the fat kid on the playground.
Yeah.
You know, in elementary school.
Yeah.
That was me, wasn't it? That's how I know these things.
You weren't fat.
Okay, well, WoW is just such a good example, and because it's what everybody looks to.
Yeah.
So in WoW, you run into a fight.
It's an easy comparison.
You can run into a fight, pull 5 guys, not feel in danger.
Yeah.
In
fact, I did that all the time. Back in Wrath, I was a tank on my paladin. Mm-hmm. It was so much fun. I would go into a room, pull everything, and if I had a competent healer, we were fine.
Right. So this will make combat better and more exciting.
Yeah.
Because there's more risk.
Yeah. You can't do that.
Right.
So that's really cool. So I guess that's all for our checklist. You want to wing it for a couple more minutes, or do you want to wrap up there?
Well, I guess.
Is there anything else you wanted to say about it?
Well, yeah. You might have noticed already that our video. I don't know if it's longer than 15 minutes yet.
It's not. We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. But if we did want to talk longer, our videos can now go past 15 minutes.
Yes.
Our account got upgraded. It's not partnership.
It's not partnership.
But it is.
Yeah.
It is pretty nice.
It's a level up of sorts.
Yeah. It is a level up.
Ding.
And it just gives us a bit more.
Mr. Q, you're supposed to say grats.
Oh,
Ding, grats.
I don't play WoW anymore.
Nor do I.
So it just gives us more flexibility.
Yeah, it's really cool. So if
doesn't mean we're gonna start making hour-long videos.
If we want to ramble on for 10 more minutes, we can.
Yeah,
and you can't do anything to stop us.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Well,
not that we will.
We wouldn't
not that
do
cool.
that.
Yeah, we well, depends.
We might. But so that's cool, and it'll give us
So yeah, just before we move on to other topics, just to quickly summarize dungeons. Mm-hmm. You have currently 8 different dungeons at this point in time. They will probably add more. I hope they'd add more. And there are 2 different modes of the dungeon. There's story and explorable. Story takes you through the dungeon, and it's not on rails, but it's just, you know, you go from point A to point B to point C, and you do the dungeon. Right. And I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Anyways, so yeah. There's that story mode, and then explorable mode is there's 3 different options you can take, and I think I'm gonna sneeze again.
Dude, really?
I'm sorry, people. I don't know what's going on. I'm allergic to you.
I guess so. Maybe it's that new Wait, what?
What? Don't finish that sentence.
What?
This was so
What
supposed
are you talking
to...
about? Jeez.
This was supposed to be a summary, and I'm failing. Okay, story mode takes you through the dungeon and takes you through the story of the dungeon. Explorable mode. There's 3 different modes that you can go through, and that's more for more advanced players. Yes. Everybody gets loot. Different
no dungeons
weapons.
Until 35.
No dungeons until 35, which is cool. And yeah, stuff and things. I suppose that's all. What were we going to talk about now?
I wasn't going to talk about anything.
It's embarrassing.
I'm gonna check my phone because someone's been trying to call me. Wait, no, I haven't.
You've been getting texts?
No.
You tripping? You tripping, bro?
The devil's in my phone.
Oh snap!
Someone likes me, wants to call me. I should know better than that. I don't have any friends.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even your friend. I'm only doing this because I'm getting paid. Wait, I'm not.
Because you're getting subscribers out of it. That's right. We have 400 of the best friends ever. We don't need real friends.
Yeah, no kidding.
We have our YouTube people.
Yeah, so at this point, we're just kind of rambling. So I think we'll just cut it here.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for watching another episode.
Yeah, and
look forward next week to another one. We're going to try and do it every week.
No idea what we're talking about.
No idea when, no idea what we're talking about, but it will happen.
Yep.
You might just get a video of us eating breakfast. I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows?
It could be that. It could be something really cool.
It could be.
Or better.
Or better than cool.
So, yeah, and thanks for subscribing. Thanks for subbing.
Yeah, it's really great.
Comic team.
Yes, so if you haven't seen our little bit of an update of what's going on, kind of a video, you can click somewhere in this area to go watch that. And that'll kind of give you a recap of what we were just talking about and then some. So yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'm Zolfiri.
I'm Zamboni Chaos.
And we'll see you next time.
Adios.
Later.